When the dam blew, I swear the ground itself roared. Water burst through the concrete like a beast, finally breaking its chains, tearing apart everything the HOA thought they could control. They'd called it Serenity Park. But when that wall cracked and the river screamed back to life, serenity was the last thing anyone heard. 12 years before that morning, I'd bought 10 acres of woodland outside Ridgeview Estates, a fancy development with manicured lawns and neighbors who worshipped bylaws more than they loved nature. My land was different. Wild. Half a mile of untouched river curved through it alive with salmon every spring. I'd chosen this place because it was quiet. Not silent, but quiet, the kind that makes you feel like the world still remembers how to breathe. After my son Aaron died, drowned in a man-made rafting channel, I needed that. I needed a river that wasn't caged by concrete. For years, it stayed peaceful. Then came the letters from the Ridgeview HOA signed in gold ink by their president, Dana Hernandez. The kind of woman who smelled like disinfectant and control. She said they wanted to enhance the community's visual harmony by installing a retaining wall along the river. I ignored it. I wasn't in their HOA. My deed made that crystal clear. Still, the letters kept coming. Then a drone buzzed my property line one afternoon while I was chopping wood. That was the first time I realized they weren't asking. They were planning. 2 weeks later, I came home to the sound of machinery. Diesel engines, cement mixers, the crunch of gravel. When I reached the riverbank, I froze. They were building a dam. Not a wall, not a spillway, an arch of concrete already half poured across the channel. The current was backing up fast, turning my stretch of river into a stagnant pond. I ran down, shouting, "Who authorized this?" A man in a hard hat looked up from his clipboard. "Ridgeview Estates HOA, sir. We've got permits." "Not for this, you don't. This is my property." He flipped through his papers confused, but I wasn't waiting. I stared at the water already choking, and I felt something inside me crack. The same helplessness I'd felt when Aaron died watching bureaucracy smother life in the name of safety order or progress. That night I stormed into their board meeting. The clubhouse reeked of perfume and entitlement. Dana sat at the head of the table, manicured fingers tapping the gavel. "Mr. McMichael," she purred, "you're not on the agenda." "You dammed the river," I said. "You killed a spawning route protected by the state." "We improved a community feature," she replied, all smiles. "Maybe you should be thankful." People around the table laughed, softly sipping wine. I walked out before I lost it completely. That night, when I sat on my porch and heard nothing but the mechanical hum of pumps, I realized the quiet was gone. In the days that followed, I documented everything. Photos, coordinates, timestamps. When the city ignored me, I mailed certified letters. The only reply I got was a thick envelope from the HOA, a cease and desist notice. They accused me of trespassing on jointly governed visual zones. Visual zones. They were killing a river for the sake of aesthetics. I won't lie, that broke me for a while. I sat there in the dark, staring at the dead water, wondering if I was the crazy one. Maybe I'd gone too far. Maybe I was just a grieving father picking a new fight because I'd lost the last one. There was a moment I almost let it go. Almost. But then I pulled out an old photo. Aaron, chest deep in this same river, holding a salmon half his size. 11 years old. Laughing. Behind him was the same bend, now buried under cement. That's when I remembered his 6th grade project, how he'd explained to his class that if you block a salmon's path, you don't just stop fish, you erase generations. So I called an old friend, Dr. Hector Mendel now with NOAA Fisheries. When I told him what the HOA had done, he went silent. Then he said, "Send me everything. If they touched a protected river, they're done." I sent it all: photos, videos, maps. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something like purpose. Days later, another letter came. This one wasn't from the HOA, it was from NOAA itself. A formal notice to the Ridgeview Board: cease construction immediately, or face federal investigation under the Endangered Species Act. I almost laughed. The same government that had failed my son might finally save this river. 2 mornings later, I saw a white Mercedes crawling up my dirt road. Dana stepped out dressed like she was heading to court. Mr. McMichael, she said coolly, we believe this is a misunderstanding. It's not, I replied. The board acted in good faith. Good faith doesn't pour concrete across a living river. Her smile faltered. You've put us in a difficult position. No, I said you did that yourselves. She left without another word, but I saw at the first flicker of fear in her eyes. The next HOA meeting was packed. People whispering, glancing at me. Dana stood at the podium trying to control the story. We acted within our rights, she said. Our intention was community improvement. I raised my hand. Did you know I asked, holding up Noah's letter, that building on a federally protected salmon route is a felony? The room went dead quiet. Someone gasped. Someone else muttered, Jesus Christ. Dana's face stiffened. Mr. McMichael, your behavior is factual, I interrupted. You dammed the river, you killed the fish, and you called it progress. I walked out. The next morning, someone spray-painted, Free the River, across their shiny Serenity Park sign. Within a week, federal agents arrived. They took samples, measured oxygen, marked off crime scene tape around the dam. Marisol Hernandez, a young biologist from the state, shook her head when she saw the readings. The river's suffocating, she said. You were right. The HOA tried to spin it as eco-restoration. Their lawyer said it was all a misunderstanding. But when NOAA's emergency order dropped authorizing immediate demolition, they went silent. The day before the blast, I stood by the water with Hector. The air smelled like rain and rust. The dam looked smaller up close, almost pitiful, but I knew what it had taken from this place. You ready for this? Hector asked. I nodded. Been ready since they poured the first bucket. At 6:42 a.m., the countdown began. 3, 2, 1. The ground shuddered. A deep, rolling thunder echoed through the valley as the concrete split. Water burst through like something alive, hurling debris foam and months of silence downstream. I felt the spray hit my face, cold, fierce, cleansing. No one cheered. Everyone just watched. The river didn't whisper anymore. It roared. Minutes later, as the current tore through the broken wall, I saw movement, silver flashes twisting in the turbulence. Salmon. Actual salmon fighting their way home. My knees gave out and I dropped to the mud, laughing and crying all at once. After everything, the letters, the threats, the sleepless nights, they'd come back. By noon, the HOA's fate was sealed. Dana resigned. The developer fled. Investigators uncovered emails proving they knew the river was protected and built anyway to raise property values. Serenity Park was demolished within the week. I didn't attend any victory meetings or interviews. I just went back to the river. The water moved again, quick and clear, washing the stench of arrogance away. I stood there with my boots in the current, thinking of Aaron, how he used to say, rivers are like memories, they always find their way home. And maybe he was right, because when that dam fell, it wasn't just concrete that broke. It was every lie, every ounce of greed, every rule that said people like me couldn't fight back. The HOA thought they owned beauty. They thought they could trademark nature. But the river reminded them and me what's real. Lesson. You can cage a current for a while, but eventually the water takes back what's hers.